So this is the CZ, manufactured in Czech Republic. It's the Bren 2 7.62x51 battle rifle. This is a post-shample machine gun right here. 45 for semi, 90 for full auto. As far as I'm aware, this is the first one on YouTube that's in the United States, but we can confirm that later. I put an Atlas bipod on it. These are one of the older models. I'm not really a big fan of the older models for precision rifle series because these rotate, so if you're shooting off of a hard surface running these feet, they roll. But for the purpose of this rifle, this is fine. We don't really have a good bench here, so I'm shooting off of a Crux Ordnance tripod, 42mm. All the Coltac fixings hanging off of it. Very stable shooting platform. I didn't get a weight on the gun, but it feels like, compared to the 7.62x39 Bren 2 machine gun, it feels barely a pound heavier. So this should be around 7 pounds, 7.5. We had to go to Dead Air. Dead Air has adapters. We had a Nomad in stock at the shop, and I bought the M15 x1 right-handed thread adapter. It's a 3-prong muzzle device from Dead Air. We're using the Chemo adapter that goes into the back of the Nomad, which converts it to allow use with their factory muzzle devices. And then this locking nut, there's a lot of threads on this gun, and there's a locking nut. So once the muzzle device was seated, we backed the locking nut back. It has a 2-position adjustable gas block, hot and hotter. Today we're running some CZ Czech Republic manufactured 7.62x51 NATO ball. So we're gonna be running that today. Really easy adjustable gas block. You can rotate it to 0, so it's 0 gas. 2 is hotter, and that's standard velocity. And then you can rotate this whole thing and pull it out for removal. But it's kind of nice. Actually, you rotate it this way. You can pull it apart. We're not gonna do that right now. I have thought about using the gas position 0 setting and firing this gun to leave a burn mark on it, and then I can port out that gas valve so for suppressor use. These do speed up with suppressors, but running decent ammo as a 7.62x51, I don't think it'll be too hot. Czech Republic just legalized suppressors. That's why these guns were never really built for suppression from the factory. We have a Trijicon 1-4x24 AccuPower. I can't remember exactly the reticle on it. I don't think it has it. I don't think it has what it is. But shoot this fucking bottle. I mean, that makes sense. Head overboard at that distance. Once we confirm 0, we'll run some machine gun fire. Gassy. Super gassy. Look at the gases coming out the buttstock. Holy shit. That's gonna have to get gas tuned. That fucking sucks. Right off the right, what the fuck? Almost dead headshot. Alright, that's a good group. Bolt lock, bolt drop. A little sketchy being in the trigger guard. You probably shouldn't have your finger in there. Obviously you can manipulate that when the safety's on, but yes, keep your fingers out of the trigger guard unless you intend to shoot. But it's kind of a neat little feature. Then they have ambidextrous mag release. Boop. It is a 16-inch barrel length. This distance right now, we're about 100 yards. It's not, I'll get like a real nice 3-round group. Then I'll pick another spot of the target to shoot 3 rounds. I'll get like 2 stacked and 1 flyer. I don't think it's me. It could be me, but not 100 yards. Mirage is getting pretty bad. So we're just waiting for the barrel to cool. I shot a nice 4-shot group. You know, it was half MOA. And then shot a second string, 5-shot second string, and it's just all over the place. So the gun's got 50 rounds through it pretty quickly. It's about 75 degrees with 80% humidity right now. Humidity's kind of high. Heat's sticking around pretty good. This can's pretty hot. We're gonna check tension of the can, make sure the can didn't loosen up, but we're gonna let it cool back down to ambient before concluding 0. But when I dialed, it was hanging off the right side. I checked it, moved it back left, and it's still hanging off the right side after shooting a good group. So I think because it is a pencil barrel 308, it's not a free float. You know, obviously it's all pinned up here. I don't think it's a free float. It's not a free float handguard either, and then you got this little bit of barrel sticking out. It could be hot enough that there's a tiny bit of barrel sag, or it's just too hot. Generally when you want to 0 barrels, you want to do cold bore 5 shots. Check it, cold bore 5 shots, but we're trying to ghetto 0 it so we can talk about it more. Some of you guys might ask why I'm running a super low mount. You can see that this drifts downward. There's an actual slope to it. Well, where my natural point of grip is, when I get behind it, I sink into it. If I bed my cheek all the way down, I'm getting black silhouetting at the top of my scope. So I have to lift my cheek up just a little bit. So it may look super low to most people, but once you actually get behind the weapon system, it's just right. Now, not to say if we were shooting night vision and I was doing night vision through an LPVO, I would definitely want a higher mounted LPVO for that. But because of how sloped this is, my cheeks down here, my eye box sits real nice there. So kind of cool, a little bit different than like a AR-10 where your buffer tube's pretty straight out the back from the rail. So it works for me right now, but if I'm going to kill pigs with this, it's going to be at night with the Thermion XB50 from Pulsar, which sits a little higher than that, and that's what I would use. This is actually the exact setup that I would pretty much like to run on pigs in Texas. This tripod, you can see how like bomb-proof this whole setup is. If you were going to engage a group of pigs and they were in line with you, pretty much in line with the terrain that you're shooting them in, this has a really nice swivel action to it that keeps it in the same plane. A little squeaky, I gotta lube it, but you can rotate it like that, and you can stay on a group of pigs simply by rotating. So it's a cool little setup. I really like this tripod. Great company. Brian's a great dude who owns it, but at 1 power, you can see a lot of this rail. You can see the cannon, and as you dial it up, it's not so bad. I like this setup though. This would be a pretty decent setup if you needed a DMR, non-reciprocating charging handle. It does have more, with a can right now, it does have a lot more felt recoil than I'd say a Scar 17. I think this bumps a little harder. But it would be nice to get a side-by-side comparison at some point against one that's untuned, like a virgin Scar 17. But ideally, I would like to tune this for gas. If I can tune this for gas, I bet I can get that bolt speed down lower. That this thing is a really, really soft shooter with a can, and you'll get less blowback in your face. It'll be a lot nicer to shoot in general. That's the goal. But higher cyclic rate, higher gas rate. I mean, you're looking at a reliable firearm for the most part. Reliable to a bunch of different ammos, especially all this mil surplus stuff that I'm running through it. So we'll see how it runs. We'll keep running it. I'm gonna get that can torque down. It's still loosening up from the muzzle device. So you got the adapter here and then the can itself. I gotta get the dead air tool on it. I wish I brought a little wrench with me. I could have just cranked on it here and got it dialed in. But for the most part, this is a really sweet setup. I think from the Bren 2 family, it'll be this versus the 7.62x39. I think I've carried the 7.62x39 quite a bit this past year. I've shot pigs with it twice. I've gone night vision hunting with it using the Federal Fusions. That stuff is super soft shooting. You actually have to turn the gas up on the gun to get it to cycle on the 7.62x39. So I bet it would be pretty cool shooting some hunting loads of 7.62x51 out of this. But in general, the 7.62x39 is a great platform. I think it's a good all-around platform. As long as you're not just burping full auto all day, that gun is pretty sweet. I think this is my second favorite. I like how the handguard is not that hot right now. If this was any other of the Brens, this thing would be roaring hot. I can sit here and rest my hand near the gas block and it's comfortable. So that's a nice touch. It's not liquefying my fingerprints right now like the other ones. I like the stock better. It's got the QD swivels built in. It seems to be more robust of a stock. The 7.62x39 that we have, when I'm running at full auto, it'll actually bump itself off of its setting on the stock. It'll actually bump, like you can see how this is a little cantilever arm. This has a really high spring tension. The one in the 7.62x39 is pretty weak and just goes collapses on you. So that's not the greatest of that particular one that we have, but I mean, this would be great. It's got QDs up front. It's got a built-in QD here on either side. QDs on the buttstock. It has the original sling points here next to the gas block and here in the back, which is nice to run the QD up front and then move this sling point to this side so that you can side fold. Right now in this configuration I can't side fold, but this is my ideal sling location. I like running sling over the back of the buttstock, so when it's over me it sits right out in front when it's slung. So if I'm fucking with this gun, running and gunning, I'm gonna run my sling like this for storage. I'm gonna move the sling to the other side and fold it. It doesn't, the fucking pulley on the wire.
Little thing doohickey here.